Le Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shivasade Gaur Bhakta Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna. So greetings from Vrindavan. Actually, from Jagannath Puri. I left there at 5 in the morning, and I got back here about 2 hours, and I was greeted by um, the her famous son Damodar, her husband, Govardhan Lal, the um, husband of Brajas and Lal Govinda, Priya. That's why I have these kind of nice garlands. But I was determined to give the class. It'd be done a little bit different than I do for about probably about 7 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks. And well, the breaking up, you'll have to read my lips because I just don't have very good reception here. That's just the fact of life here. Back to Govardhan, I will. Let's hope reception as this thing goes on. I only have, I'm, and just got back from Jagannath Puri, and boy, that's what a wonderful festival. You can see I probably gained weight actually because you get love of Godhead in Jagannath Puri by the prasadam. And we've been on prasad, everything, that incredible cook. Oh my God. And was a great group, wonderful group. We fly in really the best kirtaniers. And I'm speaking to our Parikram group here. We're going to bring them out one day with the Kinchana Krishna. Phenomenal. And definitely top 2 or 3 Mridanga players in all of ISKCON, literally. Phenomenal. We also invited Brajabhari to come out, speak Jagannath with us. So we really get some good association. Just introduce the the parikram in what I taught in Maya is the purpose of parik and how, even though it not be maybe just weeks, or that was just 60s, what the significance of it is. Um, The definition is trust by experience. Trust by the experiences we have. And experiences are a cycle. Actually, because the goal is, as Aristotle said, that's the means to happiness. So really finding a goal really can give happiness is just so important. And those experiences we have, they really fortify that goal. And the way you have experience, the way you have experience, it is in a spiritual life, practice. And practice means, it means, okay, we're getting reception. It means four things. It means practice over a period of time with without interruption, in the right mood. And we try to have every day a sadhana, which means sacred time to concentrate. And we did every month, the Lord Hari, Madhavatiti, Bhakati Janani. The days of Lord Hari give birth to devotion. And we try to have it every, and I give images. Dura, when he went on pilgrimage, Ture Vritani Hari, how only for. And it's amazing because it's not so natural, the activities when you come to the Holy Dham, to be actually have a practice, in other words, be absorbed. Experience you have, really. So we had that in Puri, and it was just, and what to speak of creating community. Community means a selfish interest. So they're community, and it enables I. The limited concept of I is I am the center. And that's exactly the concept of ignorance for false God. And that's why Sankirtan is better than Kirtan, because it's community. It helps you to drop that very thing that blocks us. It's such a wonderful Kirtan. We had a wonderful community. And one of the things I'm not going to be able to, idea, one is that substance is more. In other words, our allegiance is we belong to this, but something is how dedicated you are to that life. And the person who runs it, Father Ashley, he wasn't there last year. He one person that runs the whole thing with help. he's just so unselfish, amazing, and so non-sectarian. Because retreat center, we put up all these incredible pictures. What do you call these? All over of Lord Chaitanya and Prabhupada and Kirtan and Jagannath. And then in the middle of that courtyard, we have Kirtan going on practically, completely appreciative. On his door at any time of the day. People want to in at different times, and he gets up. So substance. And then the other thing that was really Catholic girl that was there, whose brother was a devotee, and she came, and she and they a couple of times a week she would go to mass and then our kirtan. And what attitude she had. Very, so this is so important. Since we take too much, I belong to the best group from the best group. I have the best group, therefore group. I live in the best place, Radha could, Radhe, therefore I'm a person. But it's really want to write on that. And the other write on is, and I'll try to get you the tape. The lectures that I gave there on the mission of Sri Chaitanya, the mission of Sri Chaitanya, and Srila Swami's genius in presenting it. I asked this in the Tamrita class, but I can share that here, especially since I was just traveling and I got here an hour ago. And I'm looking at and see how actually could. Usually you watch people eat, and they eat always so little, people don't. It didn't matter who it was, what their physical condition was. The cook was so great. I couldn't believe how much people eating 3 times a day. And in Puri, the benediction is that you can digest it all. Amazing. But my topic, and I also want to write on this too, but what I try to present is what Goswami's really difficult, and try to present. So maybe I can just summarize that. And what presented this many times. Yeah. Three of the top, topmost thing. Goloka, it's coming from a realm that doesn't operate according to the modes of material nature. That's beyond time. And it doesn't correspond to reference in this world, because what's presented as the highest truth is the abject Srimati Radha. If you got two concepts that don't correspond, in our understanding experience of the world is the highest consciousness. Hence, romantic love, which we project, and agony, which we present as the lowest realm of consciousness. So this has to be, because what I explain is to understand, you have it's not enough to perceive something, to understand something. And so I describe, and I made this up myself, and if it's wrong, Gail will catch me. But 3 prejudices in understanding something. One is an emotional prejudice based on your previous impressions. We have a misunderstanding, right? Well, a simple one is someone is abused when they're young by a father or a mother, or a male or woman. So a woman has a bad experience with a man, then when she confronts a man, has a prejudice. So it may be a nice man, but a prejudice, you know, or something like that. So we have prejudices, but it's we prejudge things based on our experience. So our experience world of world is something different than what is projected when it's rotten. And we have intellectual prejudices. We prejudge our knowledge. Set of kartals and do harinam, they'll have to, why are they banging those earmuffs? Identity prejudice. I'm the controller, I'm the enjoyer, and here's the competitor. So in different ways, I was presenting that, and what a task it is. How can I give it in just a few minutes? But I presented the different ways in which he's able, I presented in like, build your frame of reference. You understand these things. And we have the Bhagavatamrita, so it's actually for us to understand it. So that's the task. It's not only Radha Krishna, it's the deepest understanding. It's not even overtly presented in the Bhagavatam. And I always remember this, one day, Prabhu, he had a picture of the earth compared to Jupiter. Picture the size of New York. And he said, this is amazing. And then and then he had the sun, and it was just like a dot. And it's like amazing compared to universe. It was just a dot. And then he came. And he said, this is a and a Chutananda, some people, are low on a high platform, and some people are high on a low platform. And they project it to Professor Tom. People were dedicated to this path. I gave this to them. So that was Sanatana Goswami's. And what I showed is his technique, because that's what the Bhagavatam does. It builds your frame of reference, purifies your heart, purifies your intellect, so that when you hear about Radha and Krishna, you hear something spiritual and not your prejudices about and your misunderstanding about what those relationships are. So I showed how he did this. In other words, and the message is the Bhagavatam. The story is just, but the story can change. It's happening, but the story is there. So summarizes the Bhagavatam story. An intelligence, and it was my own experience in the second chapter of the Madhya Lila, the ecstatic manifestations of Lord Chaitanya, and it in your frame of reference, because Radha, this is the highest, and then I saw when I went through this incredible story of the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and how it's presented at the end, at the very end, where there's this, how the talking to Rukmini and compared to the nothing. And there's a reason why they all saw, but you're nothing. And she said, because I am Krishna's mother, because I prayed to have God as my son, but in devotion. And then Rukmini and Satyabhama said, yeah, the spirited lady, she's right. And why is she right? Because, obligations and duties and every the families, they're angry at this, stated by Satyabhama. He's so upset that she's not recognizing the glories of the gopis, that he calls her and says, Satyabhama are the best. I'll tell you why the gopis are the best. And then, oh my goodness, unstable. I had to the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. You want to know Satyabhama? I'll tell you Satyabhama. You want to know? Boom, boom. And then Krishna explains to Satyabhama. And he explains exactly. It's even more fascinating than this because it's such a short time, but in this progression, and we're going to get there, those of you that are studying, and I'm just going ahead, that Narada is progressive. Is also such a brilliant technique because to understand Radha and Krishna and what Radharani is going through his devotion, you have to have a real deep understanding of what devotion is and a real feel. So what happens in the different forms of intimacy. So when you see a particular concept or idea in different circumstances, it sharpens your understanding of what it is. And different levels of intimacy. So you get such a profound understanding and attraction for devotion that you develop the ability to see it in the form of Radha and Krishna. And then this brilliant technique that for each devotee that's mentioned, you see his own devotion from three perspectives. The previous person is pointing him. Then Narada Muni goes there, and then you see the first the person starts thinking he's better this and this then you have Narada going and then saying to that person thinks he's and then you also see that devotee when you go there when Prahlad goes to see Hanuman. I mean, you see Hanuman's devotion. He's worshiping the deity of Ram as if there's no difference. It's actually Ram. And you see his devotion because Narada is so enthusiastic, he starts chanting the names of Lord Ramachandra. And when Hanuman sees that, he becomes excited, jumps up in the air and grabs Hanuman to hug him. And he's holding on his neck, holding on Narada Muni's neck, Hanuman. And then Hanuman starts to cry. And Narada Muni is dancing because he's in ecstasy. And he put away his thing. You see and the core quality of life. And that there's not a desire to be the center. There's not a desire for superiority. Not your faith. Your faith is. You don't have any envy. Because when you want superiority, you have envy because you have competitors, but you don't have that desire. So it's so easy to say this person's better. So it's just so beautifully presented. Give it justice now. But then even when you get to the culmination of it, there's also three ways in which Braja Bhakti is highlighted. It's highlighted these people's reaction to the Padmavati when she says the best and you're nothing, and they exalt it is. then you see Krishna explaining to such, and actually explaining how it's the highest ecstasy. And I gave 4 examples to help people understand how that form of agony can actually be ecstasy. One is during our festival, Jamuna Pavani, we actually fly her in from Europe to manage the festival. Because you have to have a festival, you have to have someone doing all this work. So I described it's so much anxiety. Leela Varsha got bit by a monkey, so she had to take her to the hospital, different things. That was something with the buses. But what I saw is she got the most ecstasy, even though she had the most ecstasy. Ari Parshad, who gave classes that are just amount to this present Krishna like him. It's just, we were in awe. But he gave an example that's very nice. Just if you want to dye a cloth, you have to put something astringent in it first. You don't put in it first, the dye won't hold. So he gave a picture of a cloth that was just dyed and washed, and a cloth that had the astringent element and then dyed, and it was very bright. So it's like that, some kind of there that makes ecstasy. And then that makes ecstasy so bright and brilliant. But I also made the point I gave this example, and it's there in Rasa Shastra, that when you have a drama, it recreates a circumstance in real life so that you can feel it, but it's not connected to. So if you have a tragedy, you feel the tragedy, but you can enjoy it because it's not connected to you. You enjoy the tragedy and you have those same sentiments, but because it's not connected to the ego, you don't really feel it in the same way. So I said the same way, these feelings of Radharani that like the astringent element makes the color so bright, and her and Krishna says that agony is the agony is the ecstasy. But this other element is it's somehow or other enjoying feeling something that has these qualities that parallel in our practice to suffering we are in the world. We somehow or other, it's just the brightest, highest ecstasy. And the other example that's given in the Shastra is how if you put ice on someone, it'll burn them. Especially dry ice. Described, I don't know if you had good humor, man, but when we grew up, Damodar, we didn't have our mother go to the supermarket and stock the refrigerator with ice cream. We good humor. And then you'd have to ask your mother, how humiliating. You have to give some money. And then you go, and then there was the variety of the thing. But because, like all kids, we're cruel, we'd ask the good humor man, can I have some dry ice? Because it was all, in there. And we get to why do you want the dry ice? So we can go to a friend and go. Tss. So the ice, which is cold, burns. So it has the opposite effect. So Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur says, so the agony has the opposite effect. It's actually in other words, the effect of the ice, it burns, but actually it's cold. So the ecstasy, it has the effect of agony, but actually it's ecstasy. The separation. So we had so much fun discussing these things. And really, people, what they really appreciated was the quality of the katha. They said they really get this quality of katha in too many places. And Hari Parshad was, wow. He described something. It was the joy of the glory of the joy of Rupa Goswami's poetry. And wow, he was just explaining verses. The class was there, and the last day we went to this village, and I'll do it every time we go to Puri, called Dasabarya. And it's completely spotless and completely beautiful. And there's a story of a humble weaver who had darshan of Jagannath and my godbrother Pancharatna. One thing that everyone appreciated, there was also another godbrother there named Pushpavan and his wife Nandi. Everyone there appreciated the humble quality of these disciples of Prabhupada. Because when you go in the morning for japa, they would be the only ones there. I mean, people could be chanting in their rooms for all I know, but such humble people. And Pancharatna, he had this technique on parikram, which was just so powerful. He would memorize the stories or, prefer, and then spontaneously perform them, concentrating on the emotion. You remember that? Where he had this Siddha Bakul tree, and he had Jagadish sitting as Haridas Thakur at this time. It was wonderful. And let's see if we did it. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing that was really amazing, what they're doing in India for the culture and tradition of India, the traditional culture of India is amazing. And the Jagannath temple, they cleared out around that temple at least 25 yards in each direction. And they made a beautiful promenade so that you can actually go in. There's no traffic. And you can do kirtan around the whole temple. Amazing what they did. So anyway, I'm a little passionate because I traveled all day today, but I didn't want to miss the class again. I think we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and sometimes our strengths are our weaknesses. But I'm steady. That Puriyacha, they remind me, it's 17 years we've been doing it. And this class must be about 15 years. So I don't like to miss it. So it's great. Jamuna Jaya, are you still there? I'm going to run out of phone space. So
Yes, Raj, I'm here.
if you want to, anything you appreciated today?
Yeah, I really love, I mean, you've said many, many, many times about not being in the center, not putting yourself in the center, but I love that you said today it's a core quality of life. Like that the center of our life should be not to be in the center is the way I sort of heard it today. And I really love that so much. And just thank you
Oh,
for your perseverance of giving class today.
yeah. the core quality of yeah, because love, actually, everybody talks about love, but what does love mean? What's centered is someone else's desire, so Shavai Saha. Okay, a few people say hello quickly because I'm going to also need some of the bandwidth for other things. Quickly, Haribo, Haribo.
Haribol, Guru Maharaj, this is Krishnamrita. Thank you so much for your lecture. Thank you.
Eddie, thank you so much. Haribo. Else?
Hare Krishna Gurudev. Thank you. This is Samala.
Amala, great.
Yeah.
I got your kind donation. It came
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
was in Puri. Thank you so much.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
Thank you, Gurudev. Thank you very much.
Hey, somebody else say hello? Okay, I'll look at the whole list.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, my CSO. Thank you for class.
We missed you, Devi. It was really, and they fixed up that place now, that Puri Yatra, where they put this beautiful little 3-foot wall around that garden, so that when we serve prasadam, you can just put chairs, and it's like a table all the way around. So, the people who need to sit also had it. Okay, anybody else?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Surya Radhika here. Thanks for the class.
Hey, yeah, our Puri Yatra is going on, and I'm going to send it out soon that Lakshmi Nrsimha, my godbrother, is coming, and his wife. And his wife's an Ayurvedic doctor, so she'll give some support too. And we will do Kirtan and Jagannath and myself. Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'll just look at all the names and I'll just have to go now. Okay, Haribo, thank you all. Panchakalpa Tarubhya Sakra Sindhu.